about a month away. We got to get ready for football. Understand?
There you go. There you go. Woo!
You know, it's not just about, getting to the NFL, but, becoming a champion in life.
See, some of y'all out here think you all that. You think you getting it done. When you get it done is when you graduate from high school. You get your degree. You go to college, and you become a businessman. High school football is only temporary.
When you get an opportunity to visit with people that don't want nothing from you. There's nothing that you can do for these men. They don't want nothing from you. They came here to share with you their story. But I want you guys to understand that there are a lot more people from this community that have taken their relationship with football and used it and had an opportunity to educate themselves and go on to do great things.
Stay focused on your hopes and dreams, man, and, make your dreams become a reality.
All right, so what do you think? What's the response?
The interesting thing from my perspective is I deal with and have dealt with guys, man, at a high level for 20 years and been in the league. And it's no question that the 757 guy moves in a certain kind of way. But it's the same way that the Dade County guy moves. It's the same way that the Houston, Texas or the Dallas, Texas guy moves. It's the same way that the LA kid moves. And you guys can relate to this because being from there, there is a commitment to your craft in athletics. In a lot of ways, man, there's a perception that that's the only way out. And so, man, there's a commitment there. There's a toughness there. There is no plan B for a lot of those guys in their mind. They're obviously, as young, talented people, they're capable of a lot of things. But sometimes, man, we gotta live a little before we grow to understand some of the things that we're capable of. And the commitment that the 757 football player has to his craft in the game, what he's willing to do, is unique. But it's unique in the same ways. It's that same fiery spirit that you see in that Dade County or that South Florida young man. It's that same fiery spirit that you see from that South Central Los Angeles guy that's from Dorsey or somewhere that's just, that decided at a very young age that this was his thing and he was going to ride that pony. And so those guys move in a certain way. They got a certain relationship with the game. There's a fight in them that's noticeable, even in an environment like I'm in, because everybody's got fight, okay? I'm not saying that there are any cowards or people that lack fight, but even in a crowd of professionals, it stands out. It just does. They move in a certain way. They compete in a certain way. It's a really cool thing to witness and be a part of for such a long time.
Yeah, one of the things, man, that we try to do, the reason we put this program together is to really get these kids going. And in terms of thinking a different way. Because I know last year, I know you weren't able to make it to the summit that we had, the leadership summit, to talk about, mental illness, or mental health rather, and police connection. Like, to follow up a little bit on what Vernon mentioned earlier about what our young people are going through, even in the middle of COVID. You got these 2021 kids now, doubting themselves, like, man, I may not even be able to get a scholarship. Man, am I going to school? Like, what type of advice would you give those young people to look, while it might seem bleak at this moment, there's still some hope at the end of the tunnel for you to achieve your goals. Like, what type of advice would you give them, those kids in that space?
It's really as simple as this for me. Life is not going to be defined by what happens to them, meaning the things that are outside their control. Mm-hmm. Their life is going to be defined by how they respond to those things. Mm-hmm. And not only in the short term, but the long term. Mm-hmm. And we can't fear short-term misery, and we got to embrace short-term misery. There could be some short-term misery because of obvious things that a young man faces, being a 2020 young man or a 2021 young man. But when it's 2040 and he's looking back at it, he's gonna want to know that he made good, strong decisions, that he smiled in the face of adversity, that he didn't let go of the rope. And we all know that if he does that, then he's going to be able to look back in 2040 and smile. Mm-hmm. Man, it can't be about short-term gratification. No, it's probably going to be some dark days that lie ahead. And as mentors, as people that interact with young people, man, we cannot act like that does not exist. Right. I'm challenging them to fight that, man. Forget what happens to you. How are you going to respond to it? Not only in the short term, but in the long term. Because none of this is going to define any of these young people. It will if they let them. It's the same thing that I'm talking to my rookies about right now. Because there are a lot of reasons for an NFL rookie in 2020 to fail. Mm-hmm. But man, that's the easy discussion. No, man, I'm looking for guys that are committed to excelling in spite of this. And excelling might not be in terms of outstanding rookie success. Excelling might be setting themselves up for successful careers. And it might not show in the form of statistics in 2020, for example. Those are some of the things, points that I always push to young people that I work with or my kids. It is tough. It's tough right now. But, it's made for tough-minded people. And so smile in the face of it and roll your sleeves up, man, and get busy working. And in the long run, you and I both know, man, they win. That's how I've lived my life. Looking at a failed football player, who rolled his sleeves up. And when I look back at it now, man, I've seen 20 plus years in the National Football League, man. I could have been Bruce Smith, man, and not seen that. You know what I mean? I would have been Bruce Smith in order to see what I've seen as a player.
That's right.
20 years.
And that's, remain diligent, remain hardworking, stay humble, man, stay rightly focused. I try to live my life that way, man, because young people don't care what you say. They watch you move, And so, my preference would be is just for them, I challenge them to watch me move and move like I move. Because having 18 and 19-year-old sons in the house, they do not care what your mouth say. Yeah. So that's how I try to get down. So the things that I mentioned in the answer to your question, those are not only words that I offer to young people, but that's how I try to get down.
And on another note, talk to us about, because we all fall in this space of mentorship, and you and I can, and Vernon can reflect back to when we were in high school, middle school, where, like you said, we may not have heard it, but today I find myself when I'm driving down the street, I may remember what a coach said to me, or for me, my dad, and at a time it was like, I'm going to Plaza Skate Ring. Dad, I ain't thinking about that stuff. But you know what I'm saying? But now it's like 30 years, 40 years later, you say to yourself, man, who were those influences in your life that you remember coming through?
Hey, think about this. I always tell this when I'm at home, because if you're from the area, you gain a real appreciation for this. Man, 2 basketball coaching legends in the 757, high school basketball coaches, Ben Moore and Greg Henderson.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Those dudes were my middle school PE teachers. You know what I mean? At Dozier Middle School. Man, those dudes were young men. They were right out of school. They were getting started. They were JV coaches and stuff at the time. They went on to have the varsity coaching careers and stuff that they had. But at that time, man, like I was in 6th grade, man, like those were my PE teachers. And to know those guys and to know the type of men, specifically Ben Moore, man, who passed away a couple years back, man, and the lives he touched, man, like that's the care that we received, man. The coaches, man, were people that you looked up to, that not only taught you about the games that we played, but taught you about life, man, and held you to a standard. You know what I mean? Napoleon Johnson, Nap Johnson, was our assistant principal at Denby, man. He patrolled the main hallway, and he knew everything about everybody. You know what I mean? Like, dudes be running, trying to get away from him on report card day, because you won't walking by that intersection without pulling out your report card so that dude can check your books. Man, my point is, I guess, it takes a village, and that's why I love home, because, man, when I'm at home, man, I just see, man, it's so many things and so many people that raised me, man, and poured into me. And I'm thankful for that.
Mm-hmm. Just to carry the theme, there's things that people see, right? And they try to model, and there's also words of wisdom. And we've talked about this, and I've heard you mention it, but I don't know, especially for some of the target audience of our, some of our young people out there, there are still habits and things that you do today. Can you share a couple of things is it certain things that you read? Is it prayer? Is it certain, you got to talk to mom? What are the things that you do on a regular cadence that have become habits that keep feeding? Because I know for me, I got to read certain things every day, certain, finance things, investor things that I got like there's some habits that I have on the business world I have, and I know you have them. Could you share a couple that you use on a daily basis or maybe a weekly basis that kind of helps keep either your foundation or keep you moving forward for the things you do professionally and personally?
Sure. I think back when I was a graduate assistant, right, at the University of Memphis, and anybody that knows anything about any type of graduate assistantship, man, that is the most miserable time of your life, right? Like, you're a full-time graduate student, but you're working a full-time job as well. I was coaching football at the University of Memphis. So I was drowning in life, and overwhelmed all the time. And I got this Franklin planner, and I bought these cassette tapes, right? And I committed to a day of watching these cassette tapes and organizing my life through this Franklin planner. And just thoughts, quotes of the day, appointments, critical notes, callbacks, et cetera, et cetera. I needed that organization because I was drowning in my life at that time, just being a full-time coach and full-time student. And it's an interesting thing. So this is 1996. So from 96 through 99, I was totally dependent on the Franklin planner system. And so I have these years of my life cataloged in my library at my house. And the minute detail. I can open up a date in 96 and look at notes from that day, and it takes me back to that day. And it really just taught me the power of being an archivist, of being organized. And in order to meet the needs of a busy schedule, but also just to remember thoughtful things, to remember things worth remembering. Oftentimes when we hear something, we think, oh, that's cool, and we think we're going to remember it forever.
Right.
You know? But if you don't write it down, man, just in the midst of life, it gets lost. And living that Franklin Planner life for me, man, from 96 to 99, like walking around with that every day of my life, and that's an interesting quote. Boom, writing it down, or just learning from things and being an archivist and jotting things down. It became my planner. It became my appointment book. It became my journal, my diary. You know what I mean? It became a lot of things for me. But more than anything, it helped me remember things that needed to be remembered. It helped me learn and grow. It organized my life. And I still practice those things to this day. I just do it less formally. You know what I mean? I can do it in my head, or I can do it on a note card. I'm not, you know, I'm loosened up a little bit over the years where I'm not walking around with that book, but I'm able to learn and grow and challenge myself through my experiences, because I became an archivist, man, in 96 when I was drowning as a GA.
You know, and one of the things, I know Vernon definitely spends a lot more time, but we all talk. We had Coach Reeman and B2 and the city of Hampton Mayor Tuck on a couple of weeks ago. But more importantly, Coach Reeman. And we talked about mentoring and helping today's young person, right? You know, and high school coaches got a little different challenge on their hand than Coach Boone, Coach Cos, Coach Smith, in those areas. To the best of your ability, what advice can you give these high school coaches from the 757 in terms of, you know, how to cope, how to inspire these youth, how to keep them going, how to pull it all together? Because I do feel as though talking to a few of them, you know, it's like a lot of moving parts, and you can never get them all together. What type of advice would you give the coaches that are trying to manage all of it?
You know, I'll tell you this. There is no special formula, but I'll tell them this. Stay after them kids, man. Show them that you care. Because, you know, as much as we'd like to believe, I'm sure that we were not easy to corral. You know what I mean? Man, like you mentioned Coach Reeman. Just the reverence that I have for Coach Reeman. Coach Reeman never coached me. Coach Reeman never coached my brother. Coach Reeman heard that my brother was a non-qualifier his senior year, man. And Coach Reeman called my house and helped my brother get to junior college in Kansas.
Wow. Because
he went to junior college in Kansas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but that's that 757 love, you know? I'll never forget Coach Reeman was the coach at Warwick when I came through. He had a football camp, Tommy Reeman football camp at Warwick High School. I was a rising senior or whatever. It's the summer before my senior year. And I'll never forget, man, he called me at my house and said, "Hey, you coming to the camp tomorrow?" I'm like, "Absolutely, coach, I'm coming." You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, "How you get my home number?" You know what I mean?
Tommy Reeman, right? There's no
Tommy Reeman called my house. Yeah, coach, hey, get your boys right too, because I'm gonna show them what we're working with this year. You know?
Right.
You know, just the pouring in the kids, that aren't even yours. You know what I mean? Like Coach Lyons at Warwick, man. like Ray Savage, right, was all-world dude. Ray Savage chose not to play in the Virginia High School All-Star game. So Coach Lyons recommended my brother, man, and my brother went and was defensive MVP of the game in replacing Ray Savage.
Wow. Wow.
But he didn't coach my brother. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
good point. Yeah.
You know, my brother, he's just like, man, that linebacker, that kid at Denby, man, deserved to be in this game.
Yeah.
But that's how those coaches raised you, right? Like you were messing around at a track meet, like Coach Kaz would straighten you out whether you were Bethel or not.
Yeah, that's right.
God,
right?
Would he?
Coach Jones from Lafayette would straighten you out whether you went to Lafayette or not, right?
Yes.
I think about these people, man, because I had intimate relationships with all of these men, and I played for none of them. But when you came across them, you felt that love, that guidance. That's what I would tell these coaches today. Individually, they can't do it, but collectively they can. Because collectively, man, they touch kids. Forget the kids that they deal with day to day.
That's right.
Man, when you talk to a kid that you don't coach you let him know that you know who he is.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, seriously.
Man, when I knew that Mike Smith knew who I was, what? you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the 7-5. That's what we grew up. You know what I mean? Coach Macklin coached me in track, man, and I ain't go to Midfield. Man, all of us had bad tracks in Newport News. So we all practiced at Todd Stadium, right?
Yeah.
And I was a jumper, and I was a good jumper. So Coach Mack was like, boy, you're a good jumper, man. Let me work with you. Because he was the best jumping coach.
Right.
He coached at Midfield.
Right. Oh, you're right. Yeah.
We had big meets, and he is coaching me on jumping.
Mm-hmm.
We had, you know what I mean? We had Dogwood relays or somewhere. We had Virginia Tech. We not even on the peninsula, and this dude doesn't even work in my building, and he is coaching me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I would tell the coaches, man. Individually, you can't do it. Collectively, you can.
That's right.
Take care of each other. Take care of each other's kids.
That's great.
Kids, man, because that's when them kids feel like they got nowhere to hide.
Mm-hmm. They
feel loved. They feel the nest. You know what I mean? That's what we felt. That's what we can't describe. You know what I mean? Yeah. When we moved around, and that's why we smile when we see the men that raised us, right?
Absolutely.
That's why I smile when I used to see Vernon Lee Sr. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, man, it didn't matter. Like, if he saw you, he was going to be on you. You know what I mean?
It didn't matter. That's right.
It did not matter. It did not matter. You know, you're like, oh, there you go.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
That's the formula, man. The formula, man, that's the formula. We can't lose it. We can't lose it. It takes all of us working together, touching all the kids.
I agree. Yeah.
I think that's a great note to kind of end on. I mean, we you know, the community, the mentorship, leadership, you know, we're able to cover some things, I think, in the spirit of what we've been trying to do for the last 24 years with the Hampton Roads Youth Foundation, and both on the field and off the field. But to me, this has always been this kind of conversation. The chat sessions, for, again, a lot of people, so I know parents and a lot of people are going to be seeing this and hearing about it. But those chat sessions, I mean, the look on those kids' faces when you and some other guys get up there is a powerful, powerful thing.
Got a lot of humble men up here, and rightfully so, because we all realize that we're blessed. But what these men won't tell you is they've made a myriad of choices in their life, 1 million of them. And more times than not, they've done what is right. That's why they on this stage. They regular dudes just like guys that they went to high school with from right around here. But when they met the line in the sand or the rubber in the road, boom, they made a quick right decision and they kept moving. Hey, look, we're gonna work hard and smart today. And y'all are old enough and mature enough to understand that. What we want to do is we want to go extremely hard, man. We're going to teach you some skill development. It's going to benefit you, but it's just the beginning. We want to use our shared love of football, man, and kind of talk to you guys about life and how the game of football can make you guys be the very best that you can be. I'll say it again. I lost the biggest game of all time, and I'm still standing here. Everybody understand what I'm talking about? I'm still standing here. Okay? Look, life is about challenges and taking them and doing the very best that you can. And guess what? Sometimes you can be as highly prepared as you want to be. You can be as good as you think you are, but you're going to come up short. Football teaches you about that. It's like life. Sometimes things are going to happen that are outside of your control. And if by being here, being in a good spirit, man, having a good time with you guys, hopefully I can inspire some of you guys to understand where I'm coming from, that wins and losses don't define you. It's what you're willing to do, man. This game of football is a great game. I've learned more about myself in losing that game than I did in winning 2 of them, and I've been a part of winning 2 of them. Seriously. The more you get comfortable with dealing with being uncomfortable, the more you get comfortable with working with one another, teamwork, the better it is that you're equipped to deal with the things that life's going to present you. Football is going to teach you that it doesn't matter whether this person is different than me or whether or not he and I get along. No, he and I are on the same team working toward the same goal. When things get tough and coworkers beside you quit because it's uncomfortable, football is going to provide you to know how to persevere and push on and to overcome adversity.
In the midst of pandemics and a lot of things, social justice wise, I think hopefully some of the messages and the stories that, we've been able to talk about here and we'll be able to share as people are watching us will benefit from that. No doubt, man. Because that's what it's about, man. That's why we live, man. We benefited from that village, man, that raised us, and our lives have taken us to other locations, but we're drawn back to that place where we came from, man. And we don't get a chance to live it and breathe it and touch on the kids every day, man. But they need to know that we love them and that we understand them. And that we were those kids that sat out there in that audience and dared to dream. I get that. I just want them to know that they're capable. And that's why I'll always continue to go back, man, and make myself accessible, man, because I want them to know I'm not an alien, man. I'm a 757 boy trying to get a 2-piece from Chickasee. You know what I mean?
That is the fact.
Oh, big chick.
Yeah, man. I'm right behind you.
I want them to know that.
Yes.
It's important that they know that.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
Man, I love you guys, man. Appreciate you, man.
Love you too, man. Thank you for your time, man. I appreciate it.
Look forward to when everything clear out, we can get up in person.
You know it. You know where I'm at, baby. Holla at me.
All right, now.
Here, guys.
My man, take it.